Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everyone. There's so many different modalities out there that can help us feel better. Many of them we don't even know about. Well, until I meet somebody like her. She practices different types of massage, craniosacral therapy. I'm going to loosely call it a type of massage. I hope that's correct in some regards. Let's learn more about that. And what it can do to change your life, move your life forward. KellyAnne Riden is back with us on the program today. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Really good and eager to learn. Now, would I be right, loosely put here, craniosacral therapy is a type of massage, or it would appear to be?
It's technically not, but it is under the umbrella of massage, like the therapeutic realm. So we're not actually going in and massaging muscles and stripping muscles from origin and to insertion points. What we're doing is we're actually working with the cerebrospinal fluid within the body. So it is still a type of body work. And we kind of try to distinguish that because some people are like, oh, I want cranial massage. So they think we're just kind of massaging the scalp. And there is that is a type of therapy as well, but that's not what we're doing. So we try to tell people it's a body therapy, body work. Craniosacral therapy is generally what we call it. But
you brought up something that I've thought about before, but I kind of let it go because I know a little bit more in speaking to you what this all is. But cranial, right away we think, well, it's just centered to the head. No, yes. It's not, right? Yeah,
that is correct. So craniosacral, sacrum is like the bottom of the spine. It's the 6 fused bones at the bottom, not the tailbone, which would be technically the coccyx. But it's the bottom part of the spine. It's almost shaped almost like a diamond, kind of. And that's where all the nerve lines run through, down through the legs and everything. I have a sacrum, but it's in the other room. I could have shown you. There's like different holes where the nerve lines run through. And it's we can manipulate those and kind of reroute them. I think the last case we had was like the neuropathy case that they didn't have feeling in the feet and they had pins and needles, so we had to reroute those in through the sacrum, and that's how we helped that type of case.
You know, when you first hear these words, cranial thinking head, right? Sacral sounds like sacred. If you don't understand, you have a totally different view of all of this. We have a guest today with us. Who joins us?
This is my client, Miss Emily. We've so enjoyed working with her. Just a little bit about her case. She is a biodynamic case. So I think the last one we talked about in the last episode, biomechanical. So basically that's me going in, manipulating visceral tissue, rearranging things in the body to get them to work properly. Hers is a bit of a different case. It's a biodynamic case, which basically means it's a somatic emotional, meaning there's trauma that enters, whether physical, mental, emotional, or a combination of all the above. And we're working more through the emotional side of the nervous system.
Wow. Emily, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome, Miss Emily.
So before you saw KellyAnne, did you know that you had stuff going on, maybe external situations causing stress and things like that? Did you? I kind of have an idea.
Yeah. So as an adult, I can't remember any of my childhood, at all. When people talk about their childhood or ask questions about mine, it's kind of just all black. I don't really have any memory of it. And then I didn't really care in my adulthood. I was like, who cares if I can't remember? I don't know. It doesn't affect me right now. And then I became a mother. And I really got stuck in fight or flight in motherhood. And with postpartum, I had a lot of rage with postpartum. So I was like, something is happening. I can't seem to fix it on my own with medications, therapy, that kind of stuff. I did all that first, working out constantly, eating different. And then I was like, got to try something else. So.
Wow. I have this theory, and this is just me, but you said you can't remember, childhood. Mm-hmm. I've heard, and this is true for me, that when you think back to the very first memory of childhood, the very first one, go all the way back, just whatever can come up, it's usually a negative memory because it's there to protect you. You know, you don't remember all the good stuff. You remember the bad stuff because it's there as a mode of protection. Have either of you ever heard anything like that before?
Yeah, so actually, a lot of my cases, we normally hit a wall when the counseling agencies send their patients in. They're like, they're not progressing, or they've kind of just plateaued where they're going. And talk therapy is wonderful, but the problem is if there's a traumatic event that you are kind of rerouting around, it might be here, but you're talking all around because you don't want to process it. And the thing about craniosacral work is they don't even have to talk to me. We can pinpoint where they're having it kind of walled off and rerouted around in their body. And just through touch in the nerve lines, they can feel it when I'm on it. I mean, we go through different points and I'm like, how about here? How about here? And Miss Emily is so great and so in tune with her body that she's like, oh, I feel that. Or like if we're going down a nerve line in the arm, she'll tell me not there, but then we'll move over just a little bit there. So then the body processes it very differently. A lot of times when we have issues with people not remembering things from childhood, it's because of dissociation. And just as you had mentioned, it's a protective mechanism because it's either too painful, couldn't deal with it, didn't have the proper support to actually work through it and process it in a way that your body could actually kick it out and kind of move on as if it never happened. It kind of hoards it. And just as Miss Emily was saying, she was struggling with some rage issues with kiddos and just so much emotions, and she didn't know where it was coming from. And that's okay. We've had cases where I'm feeling XYZ and I don't know why. And it's okay. We're not here to dig out and pinpoint why in a specific event. Sometimes it does come up. Some people are like, oh my gosh, I remembered when I was 8 and this happened, and I can't believe you touching these pressure point areas on the nerve lines brought that to mind right now. So sometimes they'll sit up, they'll talk about it, and they'll process it verbally with me. And then sometimes they don't say a word. So can we just hear a little bit about your experience, if that's okay?
Yeah. I really don't feel like when I'm going through it, I have any memories come up or anything. I feel like I dissociate very deeply, and I'm still trying to work on that. I try to get that to change. I don't want to be like that, obviously. But when she's doing it with me, I can sometimes feel things moving when she's doing it. I can definitely feel difference of the points when she's doing it. Sometimes it's tingling down my legs as it's happening. It's a lot of, for me, physical sensations. But ever since we started, I think 2 months ago, I've had more realizations of oh, I think this is something I dealt with when I was a child. But I can't see it or bring it up, but I can feel that it was something that I went through, if that makes sense.
Wow. So, KellyAnne, is this essentially because the body's keeping score? And even from childhood, it's already in. It's in our DNA. It's sitting in, different organs, if you will, wherever. All of those, if you will, traumas from our childhood, they don't go away. We're carrying them with us. Is that what's going on here?
So a lot of times when she's experiencing these things, and it's not just Miss Emily, but it's a lot of cases that come in that have dissociation as a protective mechanism. They wall it off. She has actually been the first case that we've had that has actually progressed really well. Most dissociation cases, we actually end up having to dismiss and saying, we've done all we can. Because at some point, you yourself have to want to process and work through things. If you're just going to wall it off and be like, nope, can't go there. And we've had cases where they've made such great progress. And then up until one point, there is something that they do not want to enter into, to process. They don't want to acknowledge it. And they walk out no different. And they are still carrying it. And it's not like our traumas go away in the sense that your memory is wiped. The way that they, in the term of go away, is kind of you process them, and now you're at a place where you can calmly, coolly, and collectively state, such and such happened, but it's not important, and I'm not operating around it as if it's still a plug in my life. Like the plug isn't there, but the plug is still setting on the ground. Like it's part of it's wired into you, because like the memory doesn't go away. But you're able to, I wouldn't say get past it. It's kind of like your body has come to the realization that it's not something that you need to hold on to and make it your identity, and almost like I need to hold up a billboard sign, this happened to me, treat me gently. It's kind of like, this happened, I acknowledged it, but it's no longer affecting me anymore. It's no longer putting fear into my life or burden, or just needing to fix things or having to cope in ways that are unhealthy. Mm-hmm. So we've actually seen that with Miss Emily. There are so many times she's come in and she's looked brighter, and I'm asking her what's going on. And she just seemed overall happier and lighter, and just never came in with really any complaints.
No, it's definitely just gotten better slowly the whole time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, she's come in and stated, like, I feel better. And I know it does bother you that you can't remember certain things in pinpoint, but actually, that's actually not the most important. I mean, if that's the way people process, we do go with it. We do say, okay, do you want to sit up and talk about it? Do you want to verbally process it? Do you want us to contact the counselor that we're working in tandem with and have them work through that with you? I think you've had a couple emotional.
I think too, for me, it's easier to like talk about my daughter and see how she's growing up, and then I kind of like see myself in her, and that's, I feel like, when the emotional stuff has come, it's almost because like I'm not focusing on me, I'm focusing on her and what I feel like I may have endured, or like behaviors I had through her.
Yeah,
like, that's where the emotional.
So it seemed really helpful that you were able to like process that. Mm-hmm. That like, I don't know what specifically happened, but I know I, at some point as a young child, have felt this way. Mm-hmm. So feeling it again and knowing how to process it as an adult, it honestly, I have seen such great change since the first day you've come in. Yeah. But like, tell us how you feel with that.
Yeah, me too, and my family too. My daughters, I have 2 daughters. They both have seen a change. They're 7 and 4, so they're little. And my husband has definitely seen a change. And my mom, who, is also like me, she also forgets a lot of things from my childhood. And like, we're kind of on the same page. She is like, I see such a difference. So I just kind of go with that. I can tell, like, when parents say, like, when their kids are revving them up and they can, like, make a choice of counting or, like, excusing themselves, I never felt like I had the choice. It was just always reactive, and I never had that, like, slow down moment. And I feel like that's really grown, the slow down moment in parenting. So.
Now, KellyAnne, would you say, and thank you for sharing that, Emily, like, mm-hmm. I feel we learn from our stories. So mm-hmm. when we share stuff, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm even a little piece, like, oh, yeah, that's me. I didn't realize that. Mm-hmm. Would you say, KellyAnne, that if somebody wanted to maybe connect with their childhood, use another modality in connection with craniosacral therapy, let's say hypnotherapy, which would take you back, maybe you would see or pick up on things, but that not necessarily means that it's going to help heal you. It will help, but not to the full extent where now you go in and now you start clearing things out. Would that be, maybe a treatment route?
It is a treatment route. Like, we do partner with a lot of counseling agencies. There's neurofeedback therapy is a big one, where it actually is using neurological pulses in, like, they actually hook electrodes up to you, and they use currencies in the brain to help retrain the brain. So whenever it flips into a negative thought, it kind of gives a different wave. And what they do is you choose like a movie or something that you're watching, and what it does is it kind of dims the sound and dims what your visual is. So it's kind of like okay, if you're thinking positively, and it's not necessarily positively, it's just a different wavelength. Negative thoughts cause a different wavelength in your brain. And when it does that and it senses that, it'll kind of like take away what you're feeding it in a sense. So like you're trying to enjoy a movie and it kind of takes it away. I don't want to call it a punishment. It's just kind of like, all right, you're not going to get that. But when your brain is starting to function in like a more positive way, then the screen comes back and it sort of reroutes and retrains. It's kind of like when you're correcting a dog on a leash. You kind of quick yank it, and then the dog straightens up, and then you relax it. So it's kind of training the brain. This is the state we want you more in versus falling into more of the negative. There's also EMDR, I believe. That also has some type of electro currency with it. There's other things on the screen that they make you concentrate on. I have not actually tried it yet, but a lot of people have said that they've found really good value in that. This type of therapy is different though, and it just depends. Like Miss Emily, she has basically seen the progress on the other side, just kind of going through it willfully. And we've also had people that have had huge emotional upheavals, either on the table when we're working with them. We have recollections of like, this happened. I can't believe like I didn't remember that. Because working with the nervous system, everything is still there. It's just dependent on who you are as a person, your personality, how you're going to process it, and how it comes up and out. And with Miss Emily, like she maybe doesn't remember things, but
yeah, mine is definitely more physical reactions afterwards. So I think I've had like 2 emotional where it's like literally like just a few tears coming down. I'm like, oh yeah, I got something out. Like it worked. But for me, especially in the beginning, it was like 2 to 3 days after our session, I would have some sort of like physical, pretty significant, but like once I knew what was happening, I was like, okay, it'll go away. It'll only last like the day and then it goes away. So I think the first day, the first time, it was like I was having trouble swallowing. And I thought, oh my gosh, I must be getting a cold. Like it felt like a cold where you just like can't swallow anything. So I just drank water all day. And then the next day I woke up and it was like completely gone. And I was like, that's so strange. Other times I've had wheezing after, like the same 2 to 3 days after. It's like clockwork every time. That's how I kind of started to recognize that it was from the appointments. So like mild wheezing where I just like had a wheeze, but it didn't affect me much. Like I could still go about my day. I didn't have to do anything about it. And then third, I had like what was like the worst panic attack I've ever had, but it just was chest pain. Like I felt like I was having a heart attack, but at this point I'd gone through the other physical things. I'm like, this is all it is. Just relax, go to bed and wake up and it'll be gone. And it did. So for me, I think because I'm has such bad dissociation, it's just purely physical pretty much. And I've learned to like just lean into it. It'll go away. Don't like obsess or, get anxious about it. And it's worked. And it's only been like 3 times in 2 months. Like it's not been like every time.
Wow.
And so.
I'm amazed at how you can see progress in not a lot of sessions. I want to go right to what's actually being done for people that don't know craniosacral therapy. When you're working with somebody, KellyAnne, what are you actually doing?
Yeah. So would you mind telling your experience? I mean, just from my perspective, like I'm putting my hands on different points in the spine, different points underneath the cranium, and different points on the chest, through the arms, through the legs, depending on where the meridian lines are through the nervous system. And then a lot of times I can tell things that are going on with her and I'll be able to ask her questions. So like for when she has the wheezing, a lot of times that's in the thoracic chest cavity. So a lot of times that indicates that there was breathtaking antagonism in her life. So she was really antagonized, whether by a parent that was just angry at that point. And sometimes they'll remember when you're working on those points. And then sometimes they'll be like, you know what, I can't remember. But as she said, she would have a physical reaction to it. Now, some people, when they're not working with cranial work and they're getting these physical symptoms, but they go to the medical side and they get all x-rays and MRIs and they come back completely negative, meaning everything's fine. We can't find anything wrong. And they're like, but I still can't breathe. I still am wheezing. I don't feel right. Like, then that's when they start coming in and thinking it's something else. Whereas Miss Emily already had that perception of just like, I know this isn't a medical condition. So that was actually like a huge deal that she was able to pay attention to her body and just, like she said, lean into it.
Yeah.
But what were some of the things that, like, what was your experience in the treatment room? Like, if you could tell somebody what it looks like, what it feels like, how would you explain that to them?
Okay, so I walk in and she first, like, she has like all the maps of the body, and it was like a lot of education in that first session. And I was like, she knows so much. That I'm a nurse, so I feel like I know more than an average person about the body. And then I was like, I don't know anything you're talking about. Like, it's all new and foreign to me. So that was really like, I was just like, okay, I'm sold. Like, you know so much. Like, just the education was sold me, where I was like, okay, you can do whatever. That's fine. So then I got on the table, and it's just like a massage table, and I just like laid face up, and she just like puts her hand behind my back and then puts her other hand on top, and very gently she can feel things, and then she starts to ask me questions and like touches you very gently, but sometimes it feels like a really big poke, even though all of them are the same pressure. And that's when I can help her identify sometimes when I feel it.
Now,
but it's very gentle.
Emily, to explain it to somebody, would you say, yeah, it's loosely put here, it sounds like I'm going for a massage. That's what it feels like. It's just like sort of like a massage.
It doesn't feel like a massage. It almost just feels, I don't know. It's not a massage. It doesn't feel.
You're not disrobing for any type of massage work. So they are completely closed. So for anybody who has fear of like, well, I don't want anyone to see me in my underwear or anything like that, that's not at all how the session is run. You're completely clothed. Sometimes we offer them a blanket because of the AC. They get a little chilly. But mostly it's just kind of putting them to still point. So it's stopping the cerebrospinal fluid from entering the cranium. So basically what that does is it cuts off the signal that the cerebrospinal fluid goes to the cranium, then it goes all throughout the nervous system through the nerve lines. And what it does is it kind of interacts with the brain of like, hey, there's pain here, do something about it. And depending on if it's a physical, like if you hit something and you're like, ow, and you're like rubbing it, that's what your brain signals. It's super fast. It signals you to rub it, put ice on it, elevate it. But with emotional things, we can't do that. With emotional things, it's sort of like ignore it, acknowledge it, process it, don't have time for it, or busy yourself to not pay attention to it. So those are our options. And depending on how long you ignore it or your body doesn't acknowledge it, that can manifest into physical ailments. So like Miss Emily's experience has been more physical. So her way is just not processing it verbally, which is fine. Mm-hmm. And her way is not going through counseling. I think you have.
I've tried.
You've tried and it wasn't. So the missing component for her was more of like the body care, having the body process it and letting it up and out of the nervous system versus pocketing it, because verbally talking about it didn't seem to do her justice. Now, some people that works. Mm-hmm. Some people can go to a counselor and be like, I got it all off my chest, I'm good to go. And it truly does wonders for them. And we don't see those people. But the people that realize like there's just something in there. I could be on the hamster wheel and talk about my traumas all day, but it just doesn't seem to get any better. There is a physical component through the nervous system that needs to be processed. And that's what craniosacral work does. Wow. And it's different for everybody. It's
amazing how this is available, especially, let's say, somebody doesn't feel comfortable talking to somebody in a therapy situation, just want to, or you don't want to, if you can remember a childhood situation, you don't want to go back there. You don't want to talk about it. This gets it done. Amazing. Wow, learned a lot today about how this can release what's going on emotionally, whether you remember it or not. I think that's the super cool part about it. You know, Emily, maybe you would want to remember it, but
right, that's all right. Just get rid of it.
Right? Yeah. You're still getting the job done, feeling better.
Yeah.
KellyAnne, how do we find out more about you and what you do?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, which is kaclinicalmassage.com. You can call us at 717-516-0959, and you can look us up on Google. It's just called KellyAnne Clinical Massage right now. We will be rebranding to Healing Grace Clinical Massage, and I think we have a billboard that's going to be going up here shortly, so you'll see us advertise. But we are in Camp Hill right now. We have had other locations, but we have just condensed down to just one location in Camp Hill right now. So that's where we're operating at it.
And that's Pennsylvania, right?
Pennsylvania, yes. We are in Pennsylvania right now.
All right. Thank you so much for today. And Emily, thanks for being transparent and sharing everything. That there's hope for us if we can't identify certain things. It's just amazing how the body keeps score. Like it knows, and it's holding on to this stuff, which is also holding us back, from living the lives that we want to live. Thank you both for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.